As a proud alumnus of Horace Mann, these hallways feel like hallowed ground. I'm grateful for teachers like C. Michael Tidwell, the late Dr. Marion Lacey, who poured so much into me and my God-given potential, and they believed in me. As I walk here today, I remember walking the courtyard and a whistle would sound, and it would come from Coach O.C. Rimley. And Coach O.C. Rimley not only was my football coach, he also was my civics teacher. And he laid the spark for me to understand more about social studies, American history, and overall civic government. And I'm here today because of teachers like C. Michael Tidwell, Dr. Marion Lacey, as well as O.C. Rimley, and the late Dr. Mathis as well. I also want to thank the Little Rock City Board of Directors for their attendance today and their commitment to join me in working for and uniting our city, as well as our city manager, Bruce Moore, city attorney, Tom Carpenter, and city department directors who are all here today, and I want to thank you all for your presence. Why do I thank them? Because while I may be standing here, I do not stand alone. It is a true team effort, and men and women wake up every morning going to City Hall to do what's best for our city. And I must express my gratitude for you, the citizens of Little Rock. Every day that I step foot in 500 West Markham Street, I do so with great humility, knowing that the only reason that I'm there is because you shared my vision of unifying Little Rock. We did this together. At the start of the day, I walk into City Hall carrying on the aspirations of Hillcrest families and the ambitions of small business owners in the South End and Southwest Little Rock. But at the end of the day, I walk out of City Hall thinking about creating a better Little Rock for the children in College Station, Granite Mountain, Granite Heights, and even in Chenal Valley. As your mayor, I promised that I would do everything in my power to unify our city, stimulate job growth, and strengthen our economic standing in the Central Arkansas region. I understand it's my responsibility to lead the charge to make Little Rock the city of choice, and better yet, to reestablish our swagger as our state's capital city. And as a son of Little Rock, I vow to be a leader that will make you proud. My hope is that I'm doing just that. As we stepped into office on January 1st, we inherited a city with enormous opportunity to be the next great American city of the New South. But it's a city with some structural, financial, organizational challenges that were keeping her from reaching her full potential. Our city was without a police chief, and at the same time plagued with a need to draw the community and the police department closer to one another. As a city, we were without a strategic plan to address a decade of stagnant job growth, and we had groups of citizens who felt unheard, underrepresented, underserved, and without opportunities to grow in a city they loved and called home and wanted to come back home to. We were operating with a fractured and disconnected governmental organization structure that was keeping us from being accountable, clear, and transparent. To who? Our citizens, who are most important. We also faced some financial challenges. Revenue growth has not kept pace with this increased cost of providing services to us all. Sales tax growth has underperformed expectations. Staffing costs have continued to become a larger part of the city's budget, over 71%. And the inability to collect internet sales tax has a negative impact on the budget. We recognized these challenges when we started our campaign back in September of 2017. We will face these challenges head on because our potential is great and the foundation of our city is strong. We are excited. Our city's January sales tax receipts were up more than 6%. From this time last year, we look forward to continued progress in Little Rock and are working for you every day to create a better Little Rock. In fact, in the short 87 days, not even my 90-day probationary period, since we've been in City Hall, we've already made significant strides in making Little Rock a stronger and more united city. My administration has taken action to improve public safety, And in the spirit of transparency, we held public forums so citizens could have an opportunity to offer input into the selection of our new police chief. And after much prayer, deliberation, and consultation with the city board and the citizens of Little Rock, I hired Keith Humphrey as the new police chief of the Little Rock Police Department. I believe Chief Humphrey is here right now. Thank you for waking up early in the morning, leaving Norman, and be here for this special day for us. I believe that this was a critical step in improving relations between law enforcement and the community. As further proof of our commitment to repairing relationship with law enforcement, on or around April 1, we will issue a request for proposals to purchase body cameras for the Little Rock Police Department. And in our efforts to be accountable, clear, and transparent, we released Arkansas's first critical incident video. Regarding the February 22nd officer-involved shooting, and we remain in prayer for all those that were involved. We have to remain in prayer. But as we remain in prayer, we have to have thoughtful actions to make certain those things don't happen again. We moved swiftly to address crime this year and met with the Department of Justice to identify additional resources to help the Little Rock Police Department better protect our communities. In addition to provide increased support and resources to families who are impacted by violent crimes, we are in the process of securing resources to fund advocates for victims of domestic violence. So I ask, if you see something, please say something. We're also starting the process of employing an additional 100 police officers over the next 4 years, with plans of including 20 police officers in the amended 2019 budget. And to further improve the relationship between our first responders and the communities they serve, we have asked our city attorney to draft an ordinance to change LRPD's no-knock warrant policy. We have also requested that our city attorney draft an ordinance to create the Little Rock Community Review Board. Upon receipt of those final versions of those ordinances, I will ask my colleagues on the board of directors to pass both ordinances because it's time for a fairer and safer Little Rock. Reducing crime takes real leadership and a holistic approach to get there. But the Little Rock I know and love is worth fighting for. As a banker, former banker, old habits, I had the opportunity to finance countless small businesses across this town, from the East End to the South End to Hillcrest and the Heights, even around West Little Rock. And I personally identified with the needs and the concerns of the businesses owners and vowed to create a Little Rock that was and will be and continue to be open for business. Thus far, we've done just that. In my short time in office, I've met with a number of Little Rock-based businesses, such as our education tech company called Apogee, Bank OZK, and TY Garments, which is the only manufacturer of the Adidas apparel in the United States. That's something to get excited about. I thank them for their business and discuss how to keep them in Little Rock and attract other businesses like them to our great city. We also announced the Aftergo Aircraft Solutions expansion to Little Rock, which will create 60 new jobs at the Clinton National Airport. We look forward to making more announcements in the near future regarding job growth in our city, and we hope that's in the next few weeks. And as you may have seen in the news or on social media, because I do like to be on Twitter, we are actively recruiting Topgolf to open a location in Little Rock. As a millennial, for those who don't know what Topgolf is, it's a game changer as it relates to quality of life, quality of place, and reasons why people choose to be in the town. We've had a number of telephone conversations with Topgolf and meetings about this opportunity. They've come to the City Hall, and we continue to meet with them and remain hopeful that Topgolf and other businesses find Little Rock to be a great place to do business. It's time to attract new businesses and create more jobs in our city. After 2 weeks in office, we implemented and executed a new organizational structure within city government. This new structure reorganized the roles and the responsibilities of the mayor and the city manager. My campaign promised to have a more stronger and more accountable mayor, and this reorganization has already fulfilled that promise. And I also thank City Manager Bruce Moore for adapting to this type of change, and we are working together as a great team, and I thank him and respect him. I vowed to you during the campaign and during my swearing in on January 1 that change was coming, and change has come to City Hall. Because it's time for a more efficient and accountable city government, in the spirit of unity, the City of Little Rock launched its inaugural Martin Luther King Jr. Day Unity Program held at St. John Missionary Baptist Church. And it addressed the need for intentionality and intersectionality in the respect to all of our citizens at the Community Conversation by Emmanuel Baptist. We've also shown unity when I called for brothers and sisters of our Fraternal Order of Police and the Black Police Officers Association to hold a joint leadership meeting, the first time ever it's of this kind. Why? There's distinct reasons for a FOP and a BPOA. However, we are one LRPD. We also demonstrated unity by scheduling joint meetings between the two groups with each of the final 4 candidates for police chief, which also have never been done before. When the government shutdown was in effect, we stood up for federal employees that lived in Little Rock and Central Arkansas to provide food and necessary items through our Little Rock Cares program. I want to give special recognition to City Director Kathy Webb and Kathy Peck, as well as Ron Matthew, because they were the forebearers of that movement and helped us to get there. So thank you so much. And in our efforts to unify all public sectors of our community, I hosted the first ever public CEO roundtable with Charles Frazier of Rock Region Metro, Gretchen Hall of the Little Rock Convention and Visitors Bureau, Brian Day of the Little Rock Port Authority, Greg Ramone of the Little Rock Water Reclamation Authority, Tad Bohannon of the Central Arkansas Water, Ron Matthew of Clinton National Airport, Nate Coulter of the Central Arkansas Library System, and Michael Poore of the Little Rock School District. We are grateful for this collective effort of all these public CEOs, again, are committed to Little Rock and to Central Arkansas as we're working to improve our state of our city through various quality of life initiatives. For instance, Rock Region Metro's streetcar ridership is up 300% compared to this time last year with a fare-free program. Also, we look forward to Flex Zone, which is a pilot on-demand community shuttle service with smaller vehicles that is coming to our city streets in July. This is very similar to the ride-sharing services offered through Uber and or Lyft. Rock Region Metro has also partnered with LRSD to provide transportation for all high schools. We are working to ensure a bright future by meeting the needs students have away from school that make impact our learning for them. We often hear about the negative about our Little Rock School District, but LRSD is doing great things. Great things. And I'm going to take the liberty to boast about the district just a little bit. Mike Poore, where are you? I think he's here. Thank you for all you've been doing. The district employs nearly 200 national board certified teachers, the most in the state. 2 Little Rock high schools, my alma mater, Little Rock Parkview Arts and Science Magnet, and Central High are ranked 3rd and 6th nationally. There are clearly more Central High grads than there are at Parkview right now. By U.S. News and World Report, and $20 million in scholarships are awarded to our graduating students annually. LRSD is already partnered with the Central Arkansas Library System to provide 24-hour access to libraries for research, driver's education, ACT prep, and foreign language development. That's worth boasting about. The city of Little Rock is also proudly partnered with CALS to administer the Be Mighty campaign. This is another program brought to us by directors Kathy Webb and Kathy Peck. We thank you again. You've been working hard these last few years. The Be Mighty campaign addresses the needs of hungry children in our city, and we know we are fighting hunger right now. CALS also recently opened a business and technology center at Williams Library on Chester Street, and it offers more than 500 classes every year throughout our city to help residents prosper in our area of tech age. The Port of Little Rock continues to expand, adding land and rail for current and future manufacturers to call Little Rock home. And our airport has experienced 12 consecutive months of passenger increases, with departing passengers up nearly 11% compared to this time last year. We have 4 new nonstop flights to Denver, Austin, and we know we love the one to Washington, D.C., and Orlando, Florida. An additional stop is coming as a flight right now to Destin will begin in May. For all the spring breakers, that's a good thing. In addition to renovations, our airport boasts a 93% satisfaction ranking compared to the national average of 86%. And make sure you please go out to new Chick-fil-A out there as well. Jobs, education, and quality of life contribute to a greater city. It's time for all of us to work towards a united Little Rock that serves every resident in our city. We know that to have a strong city, we need a strong education system. And Little Rock's government must be a strong partner with Little Rock School District. Pulaski County Special School District, and yes, even the Little Rock School District's charters. That's why I visited over a dozen schools in my first 87 days. Whether they were public, private, charter, they're all our children. In our first 87 days, it was why we are working with the Little Rock Superintendent, Mike Poore, Parks and Recreation and Community Programs to start our summer reading program this summer. We are excited about that, and thank you, Dr. Poore, for helping us with that. I've also asked that any discretionary funds from the state be used to support summer and after-school initiatives and more seats for pre-K students instead of a voucher program. And our position has not changed. When it comes to returning control of LRSD back to the people of Little Rock, I still stand firm that local control should have been returned yesterday. Because it's time for our city to unite in support of our public schools, and as I often say, I am a proud product of Little Rock Public Schools. And I believe that all students, no matter their neighborhood or their socioeconomic status, deserves a world-class education. Many attempts have been made to positively change the course of our school district and charter schools. The state takeover of LRSD has fallen short. It is time we look at new ways to truly improve our schools. Local control alone is not enough. We need local control to take the next step, a total reimagining and reinvention of education in Little Rock. We have been using the same principles for education, expecting different results. It's time to be creative. It's time to be bold. It's time, yes, to even be different. This is why I plan to implement Little Rock's 2020 education roadmap. Our efforts to ensure our city takes responsibility for its future, our students. We intend to launch 2020 roadmap by appointing Little Rock's Chief Education Officer. He or she will determine how the city can work with our governor, legislature, neighboring school districts, charter schools, our community, and other stakeholders to create a single school district south of the Arkansas River. I also will ask the Chief Education Officer to explore the opportunity for this new single district to be governed by the City of Little Rock with true local control. What does that mean? One city, one district. We must ensure Little Rock offers great schools, whether through one public school district, public charters, parochial, and or private schools, because we know the future of Little Rock depends on the success of every child, regardless of their school or neighborhood. Through LR 2020, the city will be committed to elevating the teaching profession, empowering parents with quality choices, and reassessing school spending and resource allocation. We believe enhancing pre-K options for all, ensure adequate transportation options for charter schools, and supporting summer and after-school initiatives will be a better use of any supplemental resources, and the City of Little Rock will be responsible for doing so. It's time we take responsibility for educating our children. We've made significant progress in the first 3 months, and we expect to continue to make more significant strides throughout 2019 and my entire term as your mayor. Realizing that our children are our most precious assets, we intend to continue implementing Little Rock's master plan for children and youth and families by identifying unmet needs and increasing program quality and accountability. To further our goal of a more efficient and effective government, we will seek additional funding and promote accountability for all taxpayer dollars. Accordingly, we will develop a plan to reinvigorate our Intergovernmental Relations Office and Grants Management Division to aggressively pursue federal resources to support key public safety, economic development, and community development priorities. In addition, I've appointed citizens to both the compensation and leave time task forces to conduct a full review of those respective policies so that our city's government is operating efficiently and equitably. And we will continue making strides to stimulate economic development in 2019. For example, I will begin developing Little Rock's first small business growth plan. Because we know economic development is a result of a city's quality of life, we will ensure alternative modes of transportation in Little Rock by implementing an e-scooter ordinance. We will issue a request for proposals this spring to obtain the best vendors for our city. We will also expand the sidewalk replacement program to promote walkability and curb appeal in all areas of Little Rock. Public safety will always remain a top priority of my administration. This year, we'll open Fire Station 24 on Stagecoach Road, north of Baseline, to accommodate the residents of that community. By addressing response times and adequate coverage, unifying this city remains my eternal why. We will work everywhere to ensure Little Rock residents feel included in our city. With that being said, we will create Little Rock's Office of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion and rebrand the Little Rock Cultural Diversity Commission as the Little Rock's Human Rights Commission, incorporating the concerns of Little Rock's LGBTQIA community in the existing mission of the Racial and Cultural Diversity Commission. Likewise, we will work with LRPD to leadership to onboard an LGBTQ liaison within its community policing unit. Because it's time your mayor works for you to bring about tangible results this year and each year for the next 3 years. And as we bring about these tangible results, we want to make certain that we talk about the various initiatives of our transition team. We know that we had many members to come across this process during the transition board of directors that we had commissioned because no one thought that we would have to go through 2 different elections. And so we had a short period of time to onboard. And so during that period of time, as we onboarded for those short period of time, we brought together a very diverse group of individuals who all loved this city. So I ask that members of the Transition Board of Directors please stand right now that are in attendance. And as these board of directors that are in attendance, I also want to pay special honor to my dear friends, Antoine Phillips and Will Rockefeller, who were the co-chairs of this transition board. Thank you. Will and Antoine and many others strategically picked 8 citizen-led subcommittees of more than 100 members that evaluated every facet of city government. I want you to understand this again. From January the 6th to March 15th, our 11 transition board of directors, who some had never met before, helped pick another 109 to work on behalf of our city. That's a big deal. Why? Because they all have a different perspective about our city, and they all love our city. And what that showed was the untapped potential of our city. And when we talk with one another and we are intentional about it, everything goes well. So I thank Dr. Jay Barth. I want to thank Gus Blass III, Tamika Edwards, Senator Joyce Elliott, Catherine Hazlett, Baker Curris, Christina Monterey, and John Rutledge, all who were the members, including Dr. Sarah Tark. Let's give them another round of applause. This diverse group of leaders developed this strategy to unify and create a better Little Rock. The transition report, entitled The Scott Script, evaluated the following issues that were addressed during our campaign: economic development, education, finance, inclusion, mobility, public safety, quality of life, and the transformation in government reform. This was a difficult and tedious task, but it was necessary. I thank them again for all that they've done, and with the citizen-led subcommittees. Again, it's just, I can't say it enough, the type of work that they've done to create this volunteer effort for the Scott Script. There's so much untapped potential in our city, and I'm grateful for those who shared this type of talent to create this report. It was awesome to see the people from different walks of life and different ideologies come together in the spirit of unifying our city to create a better Little Rock. The Scott Script contains a number of great ideas that will move our city forward, to help our city transition from being disconnected to connected, and to help unify this city to reach its full potential of being the greatest city in the New South. Now I will share just a few of those recommendations that we'll work to accomplish over the next 3 years. The Finance Committee recommends that the city partners with the state of Arkansas to implement social impact bonds. We may need to raise revenues under a more traditional model to address citywide needs, but social impact bonds will allow us to focus on addressing specific social needs in our city with resources and investment from the private sector. This will unite our city in providing solutions to prevailing social issues. Our Quality of Life Subcommittee recommends that we implement the Scott Stroll. I will meet and walk with residents in their neighborhoods to actively walk and talk about their goals for their neighborhood. By promoting individual health and wellness, we're also promoting the health and wellness of our city as a whole. The Scott Stroll will ensure that residents have an opportunity to establish their own relationship with their mayor. The Transformation and Governance Subcommittee recommends that we transform our government to be even more accountable to you. As we discussed during the campaign, we move toward a more representative government, including moving away from at-large directors and requiring that each member of the city board must obtain 40% of the votes their electorate to win an election. Why? This will unite our city by promoting a more representative form of government. The Public Safety Subcommittee recommends the implementation of an independent community review board. As I mentioned earlier, this recommendation is already in the works in order to reestablish trust between residents and law enforcement. The Inclusion Subcommittee recommends evaluation and promotion of more diversity in the city's suppliers. We will work to conduct a wholesale assessment of the City of Little Rock supplier diversity initiatives and policies. We will also work to create a broad-scale program to increase diversity in the city's purchasing policies through implementation of a supplier diversity management system for use by both suppliers and buyers. This will unite our city by ensuring that our city suppliers are diverse as our residents. The Mobility Subcommittee recommends the creation of the Little Rock Affordable Housing Opportunity Fund. This opportunity fund will promote more cost-inclusive development while benefiting investors with potential capital gain savings. This will unite our city by ensuring that the private development promotes the public good without displacement or gentrification. The Economic Development Subcommittee recommends that the creation of a red tape commission to initiate the cultural change in the planning and development process. The red tape commission would be comprised of the small businesses owners to review city code, licensing, planning, and additional touch points between small businesses and the city hall in order to improve services and reduce red tape. This will unite our city by promoting growth, development, and opportunity. And again, these are just a few of the number of great recommendations developed by the transition team and our subcommittees. The Scott script will be released soon, and everyone will have an opportunity to review these goals. Now, we know that these are just recommendations that we're putting forth in this report and are just recommendations. We'll explore the budgetary, the legal, and the staffing implications of these recommendations before committing to them. And those adopted recommendations from the citizen-led report will serve as a roadmap for moving Little Rock forward. "87 days have passed since I was sworn in as your mayor on the stage of Robinson Auditorium. And I gave my word that change was coming. While I have kept my word, and I will continue to keep my word, it is a new day in Little Rock. As a son of Little Rock and a son of the South End, with my mother being from 2807 Wolf Street, and even as a son of Southwest Little Rock, and as your mayor, and I must say, even as an ordained minister, I can testify that the state of the city of Little Rock is strong, and it's my responsibility to make sure that the city of Little Rock is stronger and will be even stronger years ahead. If you want change in Little Rock, I can't do it alone. If we want to make Little Rock the best version of itself, you, all of us, must remain engaged. Please continue to hold your city hall accountable. And I encourage you to continue to hold me accountable. And together we will build a Little Rock that works better for everyone. We will build a Little Rock that exhibits the untapped potential and the ingenuity of our residents, no matter the location, no matter the neighborhood. Yes, we will build a Little Rock that will be the economic envy of the South. Little Rock, let's get to work.